Did you know that there could be real big cats roaming around in Britain?
Now, rumours of wild panthers and pumas on the loose in the UK have been around for years, with reported sightings in Scotland, Wales and rural areas of England.
I've come across something pretty interesting. This is a patch of mud right here, that real thick, wet mud. If you tread in it, you're going to sink, which is helpful in this scenario because any animals that have been walking through this patch of mud is going to leave their tracks that are going to be really easily identifiable. And so what I found here is a couple of tracks. Now I know this is canine. What we're looking at here is a fox cub. It's canine, they leave their claws in their tracks, whereas this is potentially a cat. There's no claws, but here's the thing, it's significantly bigger than a domesticated cat. I didn't actually think we were going to be finding any tracks of cats, so that's interesting. I don't want to disturb these tracks, but I do want to take a closer look at these other ones I can see just here, so let's check them out. I'm no expert on tracks, but I know I'm looking at a fox cub, and I know I'm looking at a cat, and a cat that's walking that way. I'm in a rural area of England where many sightings of the big cat variety occur. I'm going to be spending 3 days camping in the woods of an area close by to these recent sightings in an attempt to track down the UK's most elusive mammal. Needle in a haystack, maybe? But you know, there's an abundance of wildlife in the UK countryside that the average person just doesn't see all that often. Why? Because they see you, or smell you, or hear you long before you catch sight of them, and then they are long gone. I'm going to be setting up a small base camp, allowing me to roam the woods without all my gear, making traversing this terrain a lot easier, making use of my surplus gear to blend into the environment. Against our usual woodland wildlife, this gear bodes pretty well. However, I'm not sure how this setup is going to fare against a big cat, but it's got to beat the standout colours of civilian gear. So I'm choosing a base camp over a moving camp simply for peace of mind. Because if I'm here tonight and gone tomorrow, there's nothing to say that our little cat friend won't be strolling through here tomorrow night. And so by having a base camp, it simply allows me to eliminate those thoughts. So to give you an idea of where we are at in conjunction to the tracks we found this afternoon, they are just down the way there, 60, 70 feet, just through the brush. There is another game trail right here that runs down and goes through that brush and connects with the track trail. Now, it's not a perfect position to pitch camp, but we can't pitch directly on the trail, and to the left of us, the right of us, behind us is pretty dense foliage and brush. What gives me an advantage being here is this wide open space in front of us that if I need to go ahead and pull the torch out, scan the area, I can without any obstacles. And when we're not at base camp, the trail cameras will be. I intend on setting a camera up to watch camp, setting a camera up on the trail, setting a camera up on dinner. Got some roast chicken here, better than what I'm going to be eating, that's for sure. And so this is the bait. An easy meal for any animal that may inhabit these woodlands. No chasing, no killing. The definition of forest fast food. So this evening we're just pretty much going to be hanging around camp, being still, being quiet, and basically keeping watch. We haven't got long now before the sun begins to set. Tomorrow we're going to be branching out. So in an effort to be as quiet as possible while we're out here, I've opted for the Crusader Cook set with the Esbit alcohol stove. Keeps things nice and quiet, and to minimize my impact on what I'm cooking smell wise, simple pasta meal, and as far as a campfire goes, there is no campfire. So that is about as loud as it's gonna get. So it was only a few weeks ago that I joined the largest surface watch on Loch Ness in the search for a Loch Ness monster. But this search is a little different because what we're looking for is a living, breathing animal with numerous video recordings. The only strange thing about this animal is that it's not native to this country. I remember there was a time that I thought I may have seen a big cat. I was in ancient woodland one time. I used to spend a lot of time in this woodland, and there's herds of deer, fallow deer, just herds of them. And one time I was in the woods and I was sitting there, I don't know what I was doing, probably making a coffee or something. I remember seeing this herd of deer scarpered, and they were being chased by something I couldn't see. The only thing I could see was this big black tail swinging from behind a tree as they were taking off. So that's my big cat story. And as far as today goes, seeing those tracks, it's a pretty interesting one. I didn't expect to see that today so early on, and it was just as I was coming into the woods. So it was not far into the woods. I just came across those tracks. And I could be wrong. I could be completely just so far off, but I was always under the impression that if a track had claws to it, it's obviously canine. If it does not, then it's cat. But here's the thing, they were bigger than a domestic cat, which if they are cat tracks would mean it's maybe a juvenile big cat or the European wildcat, which neither of them are supposed to inhabit this country, or so the story goes. And those tracks were fresh, like both of them, and so it's not hard to imagine a cat stalking its prey. The aura of the forest changes come nightfall. Sounds become amplified and the shadows move in the glow of the moonlit sky. The usual suspects. The night passed without incident. I'm starting off today heading to an area of this woods in which a service road runs through, and I was told by a local about an imprint that was left in the concrete. The very same local who told me his account on his very own big cat sighting.
About 4 o'clock in a Sunday morning, I was down a local park with my two collies, and in the distance I saw a black cat a rather large black cat. It was nothing domestic. It slunk along, it walked into the trees, well, across the stream into the trees. My dogs wouldn't go anywhere near it. I walked a bit closer, I looked where it had gone. I thought, that's not the right thing. And to my mind, it looked just like a panther that I've seen on television. But other than that, I don't know what it was.
According to the maps, this path we're on right now connects to the road, and I'm thinking about all the sightings that have been reported and filmed, and they all seem to center around fields, which is exactly what we're surrounded by now. So after scouring the area for a good 10 minutes, he gave me the approximate location and I just had to... But here's the thing, potentially he found it. Pad, paws, it's filled with dirt. What do you guys think? If it's real, it's a big one. Could that be a legitimate track or a pothole? If it is a true track, who knows how long that road has been laid down. So I think it's safe to say that whatever made it is long gone. Always hang your cups up off the floor. Amount of slugs crawling around here. Just got back to camp, now fixing to make ourselves a quick coffee before we carry on. It's getting a bit dark as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see some rain soon. Hopefully not, but if we do, we do. Here comes the rain. So we had a bit of a downpour throughout the night last night, and living in probably one of the wettest countries in the world can create issues such as tracks being washed up. But we know of which direction the tracks were headed, so we're just going to head that way now and see if we can find anything else. Got a whole bunch of disruption in the leaf litter here, and it comes along this way, all the way over here to what appears to be this point here. But I think that's got to be more characteristic of a deer than a big cat. So we want to kind of move through the woods quietly here, except I'm talking to you, which kind of defeats the object of it. But in order to move quietly, there's a few things we can do to use to our advantage. You've got to be aware of what's below you with your foot down in a controlled manner. Are we upwind or downwind? Do I smell like the body shop? Numerous things that can assist you in a situation like this. And the camouflage helps. It's super effective. There's numerous occasions I've been sat still, sat quiet, and a fox or a deer have strolled past and not even noticed. So obviously we want to keep our eye out ground level, but not only that, what we don't want to forget is to take a look up in the trees every now and then, as cats are somewhat partial to climbing, and what a great way to stay out of sight, being perched on a branch up in the trees. It's some potential. Around about the same size as the tracks we found yesterday in the mud. Maybe onto something. So check this out, something's been laid down, it's been bed down just here. All the grass is squashed, and so yeah, it's definitely a bed area for something. It's not small either. So in India, in big cat country, many people in high-risk areas will actually wear a mask on the back of their head. And this is because the big cats don't like to attack you face on. Generally they're ambush predators, and so by wearing a mask on the back of their head, it will deter an attack, generally. So we've come to a bit of an impasse. Maybe. This fence has barbed wire running what looks like the whole length of it, which is a good place to obviously check for any potential hair that's been left, anything that's scraped along it. For example, down here, there's a gap in the fence that local wildlife obviously use to come in and out. There is some hair. Just gonna take that off. And my best guess, that's gonna be a fox. There is a reddish tinge to it. And it's not me. I think it's pretty safe to say that construction fell through. And this is old. A lot of growth here. That is definitely not a construction site. So I actually lost the track. So what I did was just continue on the trail, the obvious trail, which led us to this fence.
So why big cats? The Dangerous Wild Animals Act was enacted by the British government in 1976 in response to the purchase of exotic animals as pets, a then growing trend in the United Kingdom. The law states no person shall keep any dangerous wild animal except under the authority of a license granted in accordance with the provisions of this act by a local authority. In response, in order to avoid prosecution, many private collectors are thought to have let their pets, their Bengal cats, pumas, wolfhounds, panthers, etc. loose. And in the years since, there have been a handful of big cats, otherwise anomalous to the region, captured or killed on the British Isles.
But those pets released into the rural communities will have long perished by now, and so why the continued sightings? Well, Discovery think they have the answer, and it's simply because people just aren't too good at estimating the size of objects. Then again, just this year, a sheep was attacked and killed by something, and that something's hair was found on a barbed wire fence, and that something's hair was DNA tested, and that something turned out to be a big cat, and that big cat, a black panther. Headed back to camp before sundown to get some dinner on, allowing me to focus on the evening's subject, which is going deep into those woods in the dark, red lights on. So if you're wondering why I'm using red light, it's mainly to conserve my night vision. Because I was using white light right now, and the batteries ran out, or I just switched the light off, I'd be pretty much running blind. So obviously come nightfall, there's a lot of animals just waking up and starting their day. And one of those animals includes the big cats. So big cats, like domestic cats, sleep quite a lot, between 16 to 20 hours a day. And this is because in the wild, they are opportunity hunters. They will sprint to catch their prey, but they're not marathon runners, and so they sleep to keep that energy intact. They are also nocturnal, with hunting activity taking place at night and during twilight. Almost a full moon tonight, so that's pretty helpful in lighting up the environment just a little bit. So we got some disturbance in the brush just ahead of us. So slow and steady, just gonna make our way over there quietly. Every now and then I'm going to ditch the red light and go for the white light. It just spreads a bit further, allowing us to see a bit more. Okay, so new tactics after nearly breaking my ankle a couple of times. I've come across this hill on the side of the woodland here, and so I'm gonna go up the hill, take a seat. Gives me a good vantage point to overlook the woodland. If we hear anything, can just light them up. This isn't such a bad situation to be in. I can see quite a lot of the woodland out there, and if there's any movement, yeah, we'll just use the big torch. And this is the big torch, however many lumens it is. This is a Brunite Catapult Pro. To give you a bit of an example, huh? So we hear some noise over there. What is it? Boom, light it up. Okay, it's a panther. So I just got up, stretched my legs, and came across this. Look, an old tent. Do you think the big cat got the campers? Been waiting around for a little while now, and it's just starting to rain, so I decided to call it night, head back to camp. And I realised that this is probably one of the quietest forests I've ever been in. There's not even any owls. I don't think I've seen any wildlife since I've been here. But there is, because I've seen the tracks, so I just haven't seen the actual wildlife. The other thing is, we're strolling around in the dark here, and where's camp? Might have to bring out the big torch for this. So I was just laying here chilling out, and something went ploughing through the bushes. It's all quiet now, but you know, I think it's all mind over matter, right? We were walking through the woods in the dark earlier, expecting to see something, get ourselves a little worked up, and now, you know, we're laying here. Not sure a bivvy was the best idea. Pretty vulnerable position, whereas a tent, at least you could sit up in a tent. But yeah, right now, just feeling a little vulnerable. But best idea for camouflage, being that it's low lying, but yeah, not for vulnerability. So that's the update. Yeah, just ever so slightly freaking myself out. And the thing is, I don't know what the thing is. The forest can easily play tricks on your mind, wreaking havoc on your psychological input if you don't rationalize what that sound was. Was it a big cat plowing through the undergrowth, or simply a gust of wind? After a long night, it's time to strike camp. We got nothing on the camp camera, nothing on the trail. Want the camera to go. So we have had movement coming up to our bait, which is over there. Don't think it's all there. Something has been at it. Maybe a needle in a haystack. I'm one person in the woods chasing an expert at evasion. I could spend an entire week in this woods and still only come up with maybe potential tracks. Maybe I was just chasing my tail. Or maybe discovery was right. It's not a big cat, but it's not hungry.